I'm the computer man. I'm the Macintosh man with the virus scan. Moving your files all across the land. Some Photoshop filters in After Dark. Get your Microsoft Office, express your quark. Millions of colors with a VRAM chip. How about a system crash that'll make you flip? I'm the computer man. I'm saying Windows 95 is plug and pray. If it's fonts you want, you gotta go to MacWave. Log right on as my personal guest. You'll have Macintosh software on your desk. Send me an email with your request. If it's hardware you want, baby, I'm the best.
Good evening, K-Squid listeners. Good evening, Santa Cruz, Monterey, Central Coast, and beyond. My name is Luigi Opido, owner-operator of Pleasure Point Computers, right by the beach here in beautiful Santa Cruz, California. And for the next hour, I'm your tour guide into a world of wonder, magic, information, and yeah, a lot of frustration, right? Yeah, we're talking about the internet and the world of computing. I am your computer man. Welcome to one of the most helpful, friendly tech counters you've ever visited. I'd like to welcome you to your local radio station, your local KSQD Santa Cruz, and KSQD Santa Cruz, KSQT Prunedale at 89.5, 89.7, and 90.7 FM, and always online at ksqd.org, as well as our amazing app, which you can pick up anywhere that your app stores go, including the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. It's too cool. Tons of ways to listen to us. You can literally listen to us anywhere in the world. It's pretty neat. And we have listeners coming from everywhere, which is really neat. We had a couple people go on vacation. They said they listened, and so we got a really cool ping from somewhere far away. And it's kind of magical to see the voice go all the way that distance. We come into this room and talk about things in such a small space and have it go so far. It's pretty cool. So if you're a return listener, thank you so much for jumping back to us. If you're a new listener, welcome to the show. We have a ton of stuff to talk about today. I have so many things. As I always say, my packet is thicker and thicker and thicker, and I just want to get through all of them, so we're going to do as best we can to get through as much of this content as possible. Of course, you can give me a call here at 831-900-5773. That's 831-900-KSQD. Or you can jump online on air at ksqd.org. That's our email address here at the studio. I'm going to fire that right up right now since I'm talking about it. There it is. Bam. So with that, you can give a hold of us through email if you don't feel like giving us a call. And that's on air at ksqd.org. Feel free to email me over. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, things that are going on with your stuff, love to hear about it. And you can email me there. So let's, as we always say, ladies and gentlemen, if you are I'm talking super quick and you're saying, hey, how am I supposed to get these things down? This guy's going a mile a minute. We have so many things to cover. I want to hear about that again. Well, got a way to do it. Jump onto ksqd.org and you can listen to our listening tab, which has a 2-week audio archive underneath it. And the 2-week audio archive has all of our shows in the last 2 weeks, which is really cool, including our music shows. So you can listen to anything you might have missed or find something new, and or listen to the Computer Man if you'd like. We also are doing the podcasting service. Woohoo! So we are on a podcasting service. We're on your favorite podcasting service, be it Spotify or if it's Apple Podcasts. There's a couple others. YouTube, I think, also, if you jump on there, we're on there as well. And I usually try to put the shows up almost immediately after, within 24 hours if I can. And again, but it's kind of me doing it, so it just sometimes I get a little run away with things. But that's another place you can find the show if you're curious about listening. And we have a ton of old shows on there now, even if you missed this one and we haven't put that one up yet. So it's pretty cool place to go, and I'm kind of stoked to have it. We've had the show for a while. We're on, we've had over 300 shows here on KSQD, and actually, just to actually take a moment, KSQD is really something special. It is a really special place with a lot of incredible people. I come in here and these incredible talents come up to me. Oh, I heard your show. And I'm like, you listen to my show? I'm humbled every day at this station. And I am just in awe of the people that are here and just the talent and the heart. And so this is just such a cool place, and I really feel like at home here. It's a cool place to be, and I'm just so happy to be with all of you. And it's we're going to be having our 6th birthday party here on Saturday, Squidfest West, and so it's going to be a really cool thing going on. A lot of live music. You can check out ksqd.org for details. But highly recommend jumping out there, and just it's gonna be a great time, and a lot of cool people. Meet some of the people that do the shows that you listen to, and yeah, to celebrate 6 years with us. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So, if you'd like to reach out to me after the show, feel free to email me, Luigi at ksqd.org. That's Luigi at ksqd.org. But during the show, got to get a hold of me on the phone here. We actually have a caller calling through right now. I'm going to jump on you real quick here, caller. I'm going to answer the phone so you don't have to go away. So hang out there, just right on the air if you can, and I'll get to you in just a second. But again, what's it? It's Computer Man Show for the people just checking in right now. We are all about updates, new devices, testimonials, scams, and of course, like this caller, a call-in. Yes, a call-in show. We are here every Tuesday night from 6 to 7 p.m. And again, our phone number 900-5773, like this caller just took advantage of, or on air at ksqd.org. So let's jump on the air real quick and see what's going on out in the real world. Hello, caller. Thank you so much for being patient. How can we help you tonight?
Hi, gosh, thank you so much for taking my call. It's the first call of the evening.
Yeah, welcome.
My name is Debbie. I've called you before, usually about technical questions or updates to my iPhone. But today I'm calling because of something that I think is a scam,
Okay.
but I'm not sure. I have gotten a few phone calls in a row from somebody with a foreign accent asking me if I'm diabetic. And they say they're from something. I can't understand what they're saying, and I ask them to repeat where they're from.
Okay.
I still don't understand what they're saying. And today they called me, and they knew my full name.
Okay.
And I told them, I said, where'd you get this name, my name and this number? And the guy asked me again, are you diabetic? And I didn't answer him. I just said, I don't understand where you're calling from or why you're calling me. Do not call me again. And I said it over and over again because he kept trying to talk over me.
Okay.
So what I'm wondering, and I don't know if you would know anything about this, but how would these people get my number and my name?
Yeah, that could be from...
It really concerned me.
Of course, right? And it's one of those things like, it's worth opening up a browser window, going into a private browsing window and typing in your name and doing a Google search and seeing what's out there. Sometimes you'll find that some random website posted, your name and phone number on some forum list or something because you signed up for something, or you said, or there was something that you didn't read the 25-page terms of service and you didn't sign the thing, or you checked the box or didn't check the box, and so it put something online and now they've gotten it from a list. Or it could be something where, you had some little thing on your computer that did some type of keylogger thing, and the keylogger thing could have sent something back. There's a number of ways that could get out, but it's very common right now. It just takes one time, right? And a lot of these companies, they'll sell lists.
I'm an older adult. Yeah, I'm an older adult too, and I heard that there's a lot of scams.
Oh, it's just flooded.
Scamming older adults or senior citizens.
It's disgusting.
So that.
It's happening. It's absolutely happening. It is happening so much. There are so many different types of scams that are going on right now, and I'm actually, I'm trying to keep up just to tell everybody about them. But they're from the spoof email stuff to the email bombs that are coming out to all these different things that the phone calls and something like this. Are you asking if you're diabetic or whatever? And then if you say yes, where is that going to go? Are they going to start trying to sell you something that's some reoccurring thing that then gives you a payment, but then they're actually going to authorize a $2,000 payment instead of a $200 payment, and it just goes on and on. It's maddening. So I would actually ask you if it's okay. First, did this come across your cell phone or did this come across a landline?
My cell phone.
Cell phone. Okay. So do you have an iPhone or an Android phone?
I have an iPhone, and this was the third time that they called me.
Okay.
And the only time they actually said my name.
Right. Why are we answering that call? I'm kind of curious.
Because sometimes doctors' offices or other things will call me when, and you don't have
the number saved.
And it does come up as potential spam in my caller ID.
Okay.
But once in a while, something will come up as potential spam if it's not one of my contacts, and it winds up being somebody that I knew from a mailing list, local mailing list from some organization where I have people that may be contacts, but they're not in my contact list yet.
Yeah, I hear you. I totally hear you. I'm just answering is really an option.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear you.
All right. Well, most of the time I will not answer a call,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that if they really want to talk to me, they'll leave a voicemail, and so then I'll know who called.
Okay.
But next time, if anybody, if any.
Oh, did I lose you? Oh, I lost you. Oh, shoot. Okay, so I'm sorry about that. I accidentally hit the wrong button there. I was trying to. We had another phone call come in. So caller 1, if you'd like to call us back and finish your thought, I'm so sorry I hit the wrong button there. I thought I could do the second thing. If caller 2 would like to call in, I'd be happy to take that second phone call. I apologize to both of you. So even the computer man pushes the wrong button sometimes, right? So give me a call back, both of you guys. And if not, then I completely hear you. The calls calling in, especially from wrong numbers, a lot of times what we can do is we can try to receive, when we go to places and they're going to be calling something, especially a doctor's office, we can sometimes actually ask what number they're going to be calling from and then add it to our contacts list at that point. Let's get back on the phone here and see what we got. Hello, do I have you again? Or is this our second caller?
Oh yeah, hi. No, yeah. This
Hi.
is Debbie again.
Oh,
Yes,
thank you so much for calling back.
What you said about that maybe it was from a website or something else that I signed up for with my phone number and my name and I appreciate all the information you gave me. I just wanted to say that. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you calling back and telling me that. Thank you. And if you do, like, if I would suggest, doing a Google search on your name. Just I open an incognito window. Did you know how to open like a private browsing window in a browser? Do you know how to do any of that?
Yeah, and
Okay.
I've done that before,
Okay.
and
Okay.
I know that I will come up. I had an old website that is still online, and
Okay.
and that might have been what this was from. Although I don't think that old website had my name on it,
Right.
but it might have. It might.
Okay.
So
And if it really,
Well,
if it becomes a problem, if you need to go nuclear, you can always switch a phone number and tell, you have your contact list. You could tell everybody in your contact list, hey, this is my new phone number and stuff, and that would like kind of start things over. But again, I think it's just part of life right now with these random phone calls, and our numbers and our names are out there from whoever got it leaked last. So you're right. It's just gonna be a pesky nuisance.
Okay, well, thanks again, and I'm going to let people leave a voicemail. If they really want to talk to me, I'll let them leave a voicemail.
And there it is.
So,
And there it is.
thank
And a
you.
lot of these scams won't leave voicemail, so that's the best way to go.
Right,
All right.
right.
All
Okay,
right.
thanks again.
You're welcome.
Everything.
Have a great rest of your night. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Luigi, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And leaves the phone lines open for you here at 831-900-5773. That's 831-900-KSQD. And we come across things like this all the time. I got phone calls today from some random phone number that I did a Google search for. I typed the phone number in as it's calling me because I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do the same thing. I let things go to voicemail. I have just recently created a voicemail that's actually a real me doing a real voicemail because I upgraded my thing and it didn't, because I had my voicemail broken for a long time, so that it would just kind of ring and ring and ring and ring. And that way, if somebody needed to get a hold of me, they would do that. They would hang up and then most likely would text me if it was real. With my voicemail now actually fixed because I switched my carrier, I had to actually create a voicemail. And so now if a lot of the scammers won't leave those messages unless it's something that's like already pre-recorded and they're trying to get you to call back or whatever. And then at that point, you just look at the transcript in your phone and see what it says and be like, oh, this is garbage. I didn't apply for a loan or whatever it's saying that I need to call back and confirm some number or whatever, that kind of stuff. So again, if you're curious, cyber101.com, I've been kind of recommending these two dudes created this website to teach people about, multi-factor authentication, malware, ransomware, device security, network security, data security, privacy, that kind of stuff. If you're curious about how any of that stuff is working today in 2025, it's a great place to go that gives you straightforward answers. There's a sign-in that you can do to track and look at classes and kind of like graduate from their little class thing, but there's no data mining, there's no ads. It's just a way to get information that these two guys created a website to do, which I think is great. So that's why I recommend it. So cyber101.com, check it out. It's kind of cool. Let's see what else we've got here before we start getting into other things. Okay, so I wanted to actually talk real quick. People have been, so I don't know if you and all have a Twitter account, but yesterday Twitter went down, right? Twitter's completely shut down. And what exactly happened? And I don't know if some of it, and again, not really, we're going to get really like any politicalness or anything like that, but there were some things that were said by some things that were said that were unsubstantiated and were not true. And I'd like to talk about the tech reasons of why they're not true, and so we can go into that just a little bit. So yesterday, there was a denial of service attack that took down X, and there was like 5 different instances when it happened. And so it was, and a denial of service attack is called a DDoS attack, which is called distributed denial of service. What that is it's literally like somebody going to a website, a million times a second, right? And so it's getting like a million requests at this website, and it's going to freak out because it can't handle all that. It's got to filter all those through. It's like you go to Disneyland and all of a sudden a million people just drop from the sky at the door at Disneyland. There's going to be some logistical problems, right? That kind of thing. So, but usually those denial of service attacks are launched by this, like an army or an entire group of computers. When you get malware in your computer, sometimes your computer can turn into a bot on one of these botnets that then would, at a certain time when it's programmed to use its computer power and its location and its internet connection to be one of the things hitting the computer, hitting the service or whatever. That's a kind of a long shot, but that could happen. And it just hits it with junk. Like it's literally just trying to overwhelm the system and just take it down, right? And usually they're scattered all over the world. They're all over the place. So with this, one of the things that was said was that the IPs that they were coming from were from Ukraine. And that basically, I read a researcher, and the researcher said he was from a prominent firm. He didn't give his name, but because he's not authorized to speak about X and things. But when they looked at the breakdown of the top 20 IP address origins involved in this botnet attack, which again can be spoofed. It can be done with a VPN. It can be done with proxies. It can be done all sorts of things to say the same way we would watch a baseball game, right? Like, and I'm not advocating piracy or anything, but like the way that the proxy thing works is if you were wanting to watch a baseball game and you don't have cable and you're sitting in San Francisco and you want to watch the baseball game, you want to watch the Giants play, let's say, so you're sitting there, you want to watch the Giants. You can't watch the Giants because you don't have cable. So, but if you were to go onto like MLB.com with your MLB, the thing that you pay $7 a month, $10 a month for to watch other baseball games, you can watch any other baseball game, but you still can't watch the one that's in your area. That's because the local, the sports network that runs the baseball game. I'm trying not to say any names here, but when that baseball game gets run, it runs on a cable network, and so they say, hey, if you're in this area, you can't watch this on anything else besides our cable network, so that our cable network has the views and stuff, right? But if you're anywhere else, you're not in the area. So who cares what you watch it on? We'll put it on online. So if I'm in Chicago, I can't watch a Chicago game. If I'm in Seattle, I can't watch a Seattle game. If I'm in Florida, I can't watch a Florida game, right? So if I'm in San Francisco, I can't watch a San Francisco game. Why don't I just tell the computer or the server or whatever that I'm not in San Francisco? Why don't I tell them that I'm in New York? Why don't you tell them I'm in Alaska? Why don't I tell them I'm anywhere else but San Francisco? Why don't I tell them I'm down the road? Why don't I tell them I'm in LA or something? And then by telling it that, it goes, oh, you're in LA, here you can watch it online with the service that you're paying for. That's what a proxy does. It throws your identity into another place. And so with botnet attacks, this entirely highly sophisticated attack going to be coming directly from a location that's exactly the location that it says it's coming from? No, it's going to be proxied on some other thing to make it look like other things. And there's proof to that. So the top 20 IP addresses involved in this were not Ukraine was not one of them. That was just to throw that out there. If Ukrainian IP addresses did contribute to the attacks, numerous researchers say that the fact alone is not necessarily noteworthy. Because again, what they can conclude from the IP data that they have is the geographic distribution of the traffic sources, which may provide insights into botnet comparison or infrastructure used. And that's what Zeos Edwards said. I said, quote, he said, what we can't conclude with certainty is the actual perpetrator's identity or intent at this point. There was this... There's an intelligence team at Cisco's, they call it Thousand Eyes. It's kind of creepy. But they were talking to Wired magazine, and when it said during the disruptions, Thousand Eyes observed network conditions that are characteristics of the distributed denial of service attacks, including significant traffic loss conditions which would hinder users from reaching the application. And it says, and then Elon Musk came out and said we attacked every day. Everybody does. We were talking about this last week. I plugged in a brand new modem, brand new, right? And with a brand new router, plugged in the modem, plugged in the router, and then started just getting log data, and the log data was getting hit with botnets like from the split second it connected at 6:01 and 53, at 6:01 and 55, like it literally was hit with a botnet attack 2 seconds after becoming online. Like the first thing, that's what they are. They're like, there's just noise out there. And you gotta have a decent router with decent updated stuff. And today, more than ever, your computer really needs to be basically in an up-to-date state. And with like Windows 10 possibly going away or whatever they're going to do in October of 2025, they're going to be probably offering people a small paid extension service or something, because a lot of people don't have TPM chips and they can't just install a TPM chip on their machine, and they might drop that requirement for Windows 11. I'm not really sure, but it's gonna be interesting to see how that goes. Off the tracks here. So, but anyway, so after this, the denial of service attack happened, they basically were saying it was a bunch of cameras and DVRs that were actually in. That's what the firmware was in. So like the DVRs that we have, like if you have like a Lorex system or any of those that you buy it from Costco that has one of the DVRs that have the cameras and stuff, they were saying that the botnet systems had infiltrated those firmwares, the operating systems on those systems, on cameras and on, what was the other thing that it said? And DVRs, so the cameras and DVRs, and between those two things, that's what locked, what basically gained access, because a lot of these systems, like camera systems and other Internet of Things, have very low security for what they're doing, but they have internet access. So if you can infiltrate that, you're already inside, and you can use that and then do something else because you already have ports open and other things to allow the systems to work and stuff. So it's I thought that was interesting. And again, I didn't really want to get into like any political stuff. I thought this was interesting about how I heard them say that it came from here. And I was like, you can say it came from there, but I really don't know if you know that it could have said it came from there. And that's another thing also, like just learning more and more. I mean, like about Elon Musk. And I was like, I thought he was pretty cool when he did all this cool stuff. He was an Iron Man, or the second Iron Man. But, anyway, but like, I was like, man, like, and I like, but after like reading his book and stuff, and like how he would like, why are there 3 bolts there? There only should be 1, type stuff. And it was curious. It just made me curious. So I want to talk about another thing that actually affects me personally. And I'm going to use this platform to do it because I think you're going to be finding it interesting too. So Luigi Mangione, was the guy who shot the CEO in the street and killed him. So he's in jail now. So Reddit now has this thing where a moderation tool is flagging every instance of Luigi as potentially violent content. So last week, Luigi's Mansion 3 just came out. A very popular franchise for the Nintendo systems for video games. And this system came out, and it basically, the auto moderator system flagged the post about the video game Luigi's Mansion 3 because it included the word Luigi, giving them instructions to check for violence. So at this point on Reddit, which is one of my kind of favorite places to go to get current day things, right now, if you mention the word Luigi, theoretically, your stuff could get flagged for violence. So Reddit took it the way that Reddit would and started posting all sorts of crazy stuff that has the word Luigi in it. Like it would have, Luigi's pasta sauce, and it showed a guy named Luigi who skydived over the Amazon and with a box of 1 million tree seeds, and it was all these trees and stuff. And then, or there were more about this video game and stuff. So, but Reddit is appearing to, they're flagging comments that mention Luigi in some cases, even though some are unrelated to Mangione. And then also I heard that they're starting to do a thing where the anonymous upvoting is starting to be monitored. But this Luigi thing was like, hey, man, I feel, right? It's kind of weird, right? I mean, think about that. If like your name was a little bit unique, and then all of a sudden it's now being flagged if it's just being used for violence. So I'm like, okay, so I wonder if a lot of, if you go into WikiHow, WikiHow, I am a WikiHow expert. That's what they call me, not self-proclaimed. They call me that. And so that's then a WikiHow expert is that I say kind of is a person who has, they know stuff about certain things and they answer questions for people. So if somebody wants to know how to do something, kind of like what we talk about here on the show, you can do that. And so my name's all over the place on that, and I'm kind of curious what's going to happen if I'm going to start getting flagged, or my name's going to start getting flagged, or won't be able to be in search terms or something. Anyway, so a couple things I want to fire through that you might have heard about in the news before we go to break. The first thing was this Bluetooth chip. There was basically an undocumented commands were found in a Bluetooth chip. It actually came out, the article came out that said there was a backdoor into this basically like this Bluetooth command chip that's in like a billion devices. And they're like, whoa. So then they had to revert because it wasn't a backdoor by the definition of a backdoor. The writers wrote it wrong, so they rewrote it and said now undocumented commands were found in Bluetooth chip used by a billion devices. So basically, researchers discovered 29 undocumented commands in the ESP32 Bluetooth chip, which is a very common Bluetooth chip that exists in most of our devices that use Bluetooth, and we use Bluetooth in a lot of places. It's widely used as Internet of Things devices, which also could allow attackers to manipulate the memory of those Internet of Things, remember, like we were just talking about, and maybe spoof MAC addresses, inject malicious packets, etc. And so there's a vulnerability that they have labeled CVE 2020-2025-27840, poses risks such as impersonation attacks and persistent infections on devices like smartphones, computers, and medical equipment. So there's a lot of things like an Internet of Thing, like your smart lights. Those don't really necessarily run Windows, right? They're running their own little firmware, but that firmware can become compromised. And so then the developers of that stuff then go, well, we're going to write a little bit more secure code, and we now have updated the firmware for that device, but you have to download and install it if you don't have it automatically updated. So you can see where all they need is just the window and the right version, and they can get into something and then turn your stuff into a botnet, I guess, for lack of, but yeah. But in this Bluetooth chip, they have this undocumented commands. And so it said, while remote exploitation is possible, physical access or compromised firmware is more likely. So what they're talking about is if you're in proximity to something that would be able to hack into it, it'd be more of that. And then also if you got into the firmware as well. So it said Expressive, which is the chip's manufacturer, has not publicly addressed any of the commands or anything like that. So I just want to bring that up. That was something I thought might be kind of important. We'll see where it goes. This is kind of political. I don't really feel like talking about that. So there is also a botnet the service that has kind of gone out and around, and it is basically also doing these distributed denial of service attacks. Now, I haven't looked into this. This actually came out on the 6th. Today's the 11th. This on the 6th might have been something in effect that also was happening with X. I'm not sure if those two things actually coincided. I'm not sure, but they were kind of close together and might have been something that was very close. So that might have had one thing might have been everyone found these infections, okay, and then a couple days later the attack happened that dropped X down for 5 different times, right? But basically a newly emerged botnet, rapidly grown in size, enabling to execute distributed denial of service attacks on an unprecedented scale. And it basically, development has raised significant concerns among cybersecurity experts as such powerful botnets can severely disrupt online services and infrastructure, kind of like we saw with X happen the other day. So the sudden appearance and rapid expansion of the botnet highlighting the ongoing vulnerabilities within the Internet of Things ecosystems. And again, routers, smart appliances, they often operate with default or weak security configurations. And again, your chain is as good as your weakest link, right? And you're not. That's a very classic saying in all technology. You can have the coolest thing running, and all it takes is that one bolt to fail, where the whole drive line drops out, and all of a sudden you're dead in the water. You're done, and it's because of one bolt, right? So you're as good as your weakest link. And the same thing with cybersecurity. If you find that one vulnerability, you can exploit, right? So, cybersecurity community is closely monitoring the botnet's activities to mitigate potential threats. But something happened with Twitter, so I'm not sure if those two things were together or not. I'm kind of curious myself. But yes, so we're actually at the halfway point here on KSQD Santa Cruz, KSQD 90.7 FM, and online at ksqd.org. This is the Computer Man Show with your host, me, Luigi Opido from Pleasure Point Computers here in town. We're going to go to a quick break with a couple underwriting things we've got to look at. In fact, I'm going to take a look at and see who we've got today. And oh yeah, we gotta talk about the app and a couple other cool things. So stick around, hear about what makes KSQD so awesome for just a few minutes, and we're gonna be right back into it with a couple things. I want to talk about HP printers and what is Brother doing that's gonna cause them to become the next HP printer. What's up with that? Also, Penelope, can you help your mom? She needs to feed Enzo. Thank you, and Smudge. We'll be right back.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again.
Whether you're on the road or at home, you'll never be without your squid. With the KSQD app, you can take the squid everywhere. Connect with your favorite host. Learn about new music. Text a request or comment. Browse our podcasts. Record a message and listen uninterrupted while you browse. Download the KSQD mobile app for iOS or Android at ksqd.org or in your app store.
All right, thank you very much.
It's Squid Fest.
Squid Fest. Squid Fest West is coming March 15th. K-Squid's 6th birthday party benefit concert and auction, 1 to 6 p.m. at the Resource Center for Nonviolence, 612 Ocean Street, Santa Cruz. Sharon Allen and Dusty Boots, Painted Mandolin Trio featuring Larry Graff, Matt Hartle, and Dan Robbins, African Sounds with Sambango and Manju Kone, all that plus bid to stay in a Yosemite cabin for 5 days or bid on some fabulous local art or find gifts. Tickets available at eventbrite.com or click on ksqd.org for more information.
KSQD On Demand. Listen to KSQD talk shows, including news, interviews, events, and more, anytime from your smartphone or computer. Subscribe to your favorite shows on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or TuneIn, or visit ksqd.org/subscribe. On-demand audio featuring many voices from one station, K-Squid.
My name is Luigi Ovido, owner-operator of Pleasure Point Computers and the host of The Computer Man Show, a 1-hour call-in show Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Viruses, slowdowns, scams, and updates. Computers can be a pain, and I'll help you through it.
Send me an email with your request. If it's hardware you want, baby, I'm the best. I'm the computer.
If it has an on switch, we'll probably talk about it on The Computer Man Show Tuesdays at 6 p.m. only on KSQD 90.7 FM Santa Cruz.
Get into a computer. Hi, I'm Bobby Bishop, host of Be in the Night, bring you the best I can with jazz, love songs, and soul. Join me on Tuesday evenings from 7 to 10 p.m., playing the classics straight ahead and introducing you to the latest artists and composers. That's Tuesday nights from 7 to 10 p.m. right here on listener-supported KSQD 90.7 FM, Santa Cruz.
Yes, if all of you knew how much time Bobby spends to curate these amazing shows, and all of our listeners, all of our programmers spend so much time building these shows and making them just so amazing. So, and Bobby is one of them that really just fine tunes these to make them just so awesome. We are so lucky to have the people here that give us the music that we have, as well as just the music that exists, right? But Bobby B coming up with Be in the Night, coming up at 7 o'clock. Don't go anywhere. I never do. It's a great thing to listen to while you're getting ready for dinner, getting ready for the evening, and just with the right stuff, man. Bobby B, Be in the Night. And jazz, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays from 7 to 10. Don't miss it. It's great stuff. And you can get it right here, KSQD, ksqd.org, and on our app. Pretty cool. So welcome back to the Computer Man Show here on 90.7 FM, also 89.5 and 89.7 FM, as well as ksqd.org. Welcome back. We're going to be talking about, actually, gave a little teaser about Brother printers, right? So I love Brother printers. In fact, there's probably one here in the studio here because I probably recommended it. And HP used to be my favorite. HP they were great. And then they decided to screw with their ink and make sure that you can only have proprietary ink, and then all this, and people got, and then there was updates and these weird firmware lockouts that they were doing, and all of a sudden then it was just bad. And they really made a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, and a lot of people walked away from HP printers. And so Brother just recently came out. Well, take another step back. There's a guy in New York. His name's Louis Rossman. Does awesome work. He is I would to be even saying that him and I are in the same fields would be an insult to him and humbling to me because he's amazing at what he does. He does computer repair. He's worked with New York, the city of New York, to help right to repair legislation. Like, he does a lot of stuff, and he has a podcast and a YouTube channel. And he talked about how Brother printers were basically pushing firmware updates to their laser printers to deliberately degrade print quality if you use third-party toners. So if you don't want to go to the store and you won't want to buy Brother printer toners for $96, you want to come to me and buy it for $46 and have it be 4 times the capacity for, half the price. But it's an aftermarket cartridge, still high quality, but it's an aftermarket cartridge. That they're saying that the printer would actually recognize that and drop the quality of your print. And so with HP, that was shown. That happened, but not drop the quality. It just would say, no, this cartridge is not allowed. It's not a genuine HP cartridge. And you're like, what? I just bought this cartridge. It's not working. And that's it. That's it. You go buy a cartridge or your printer doesn't work. That's it. What they're saying about Brother is that the stuff would print, but it would be a lot less quality. This is the whole right to repair thing. Like the same thing with John Deere equipment, razors, all sorts of things that have this, they've been taking advantage of, like the DMCAs and all these, like, where that kind of screws the consumer at the end. Where we talked about John Deere tractors last week, where literally if you have a John Deere tractor and you know what part is broken and you go to the John Deere place to buy the part, install the part yourself, there it is, the brand new part's in there. You get in your tractor, you turn the key, and it still doesn't work because you have to have a specialty software to communicate with the computer to say, hey, the broken part has been replaced, get rid of the warning. That's it. That's wrong. It's messed up. The same thing how they're doing these paid for subscription things in vehicles, with like Mercedes and their subscription heated seats where the elements are in the seat. It's cheaper for them just to make the seat the same for everybody. So everybody has heated seats. But are you going to get heated seats with your car? No. It's in there, it's installed, but it's not unlocked unless you pay $3.99 a month or some garbage. And it's crazy. So Brother, this video from Louis Rossmann about Brother printers and stuff, about their firmware and things, it came out in like 2022, and then it resurfaced recently again. And there's again allegations that that the recent firmware updates that just happened recently, these recent ones, intentionally restrict the use of third-party ink cartridges and degrade print quality. Said the company Brother asserts that these claims are false and emphasizes that their firmware updates do not block third-party ink usage, which would also be toner. Brother acknowledges that while they cannot verify the quality of printing with non-genuine supplies, their printers do not intentionally degrade print quality based on the type of cartridge used. So the controversy basically started again, like how when they were designed to limit functionality when using non-OEM toner, prompting discussions among consumers and industry observers. And then Brother maintains that any such issues stem from the varying quality of third-party cartridges rather than intentional actions on their part. So I have a Brother printer. I mostly sell Brother toner. I don't sell a lot of toner. We started a toner thing, and we haven't sold a lot of it. We're mainly computer repair, but every once in a while people need a toner, and I've got them here. It just kind of... people have been going online for it and stuff, so they don't really come to me as much as they should. But, I've got toner at the shop. So, but Brother printers and like the 760s and the 660s are the ones I mostly sell the most of. It's actually the same one I have for my printer too, and I use them personally. Have I been updating my firmware on my printer to make sure it's absolutely cutting edge and latest, to make sure that I can still recommend them? Absolutely, yes. Have I seen any print degradation because of the toner? No, I haven't. Have I seen people who have brought me toners from third parties and said, like, this thing doesn't work any well, and we take it out of the box and the plastic's flimsy, it's missing rollers, the foam on the on the lead edge is garbage. Like there's all these things that, like, the toners that we have that we sell at the shop, or I pick them specifically because I pick the company that I go through because they have high quality products, and I can make a little bit off of it. I'm still selling them at an incredible discount of what you would go buy a brand name one, and you get a ton of toner, and they work great because I personally use them. If I didn't like them because they're terrible, I wouldn't sell them. I just wouldn't, because I wouldn't want people to come back, and that's just extra stuff I've got to do, right? So have I experienced this with a Brother toner? No, I haven't. Granted, is there going to be a firmware update tomorrow and all of a sudden all my toners can be like garbage? Maybe. It could absolutely happen. But I have a Brother printer downstairs and I have a Brother printer upstairs, an older one downstairs, a newer one upstairs. And the older one is actually prints out incredibly well. It looks great. In fact, it's a little bit too dark almost because I think it uses a lot of toner, but it looks fantastic. It's really dark and crisp. The upstairs one is a little bit lighter, but that's because I could actually turn the settings on it, and the one downstairs I haven't messed with yet. So is this happening? Not that I have seen. So are you throwing your brother printer away because they're going the way or wherever else we're going? Not yet. Again, things could change. I might have a firmware update that's going to come through again, like it come through tonight, and I go to tomorrow and all my stuff is saying no third-party printers and no third-party toners. But I like the fact that brother came out and said, hey, we are like, it's not intentional actions. We hear you that you're using third-party toner. HP basically didn't address that. When you bought a printer back in the day, you buy a $89, $79, $69, $59 printer. I used to sell those all the time. And those printers, they were incredibly inexpensive. Why? Because the company was taking them at a loss because they knew they were going to make the money back in ink sales. And that was literally it, because they're selling these ink cartridges, the most expensive commodity on the planet. It is printer ink, or was, at least before helium-3 and all these other things, and your data. But with selling the printer ink, they could make all their money back and stuff. And so then third-party companies started making these giant sponges and lots of ink, and the inks were, you'd last forever because there was actually fluid in there. And then they didn't like that, so they weren't making their money back. So, like, if you go and buy an Epson inkjet printer with the Eco tanks, you spend $200-$300, $239, $329 for this printer. That comes with a lot of ink because you're finally paying what it costs. There's a lot of stuff going on inside a printer. So with the firmware and the updates and the software and all now there's ink tubes and all sorts of stuff. There's a lot going on. So it's a thing that costs that much money. So I don't see this yet. It's absolutely something we should watch, and I will keep an eye on it. And the minute my stuff changes, boy, guess who's going to know about it? All of you. Because this type of stuff drives me nuts. And especially since I have been telling people, when I recommend something, and then it all of a sudden just changes, and I'm like, holy smokes, I have had so many people buy HP printers back in the day because they were awesome. They were great. And then they did this firmware thing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, all those people that bought this printer thing, and they were listening to me buying it, telling you what to buy, and then it changed. And luckily, people understand that, I didn't write the firmware, so it wasn't my choice. But at the same time, I recommended something that was expensive, something that theoretically should have lasted years, that now isn't, and you have to buy these specific things and stuff. And so they're like, screw that noise. So, I say screw that noise, totally. Okay, let's see what else we got here. I've got some great, let me see if we have any you should knows or anything that I've been seeing over the past week, anything that's important. Let's see. We kind of talked about this recently. There are skimming problems all over the place. We still have credit cards that have magnetic stripes on them. Even the chips now are being skimmed. And so what can you do to kind of thwart that or kind of have a better feeling about it? Tap to pay. Look on your credit card, open the card you have, look at it and see if it has those three little lines. Even with your physical credit card or your physical bank card, most likely has those three little wave lines on it. And that means that is a tappable card. If you tap, the number transmitted is different, and it does a one-time token that goes through. It doesn't actually transmit your actual card info. And that's why it doesn't give any skimming devices a chance to read the magnetic stripe either, right? It's just because you're not inserting into the card reader. There's no touch, so can't read the magnetic stripe, can't rip anything off the chip. And the tap is literally transmitting different card information that only is good for that one transaction. So it's one of the best things you can do. If there is a tap to pay, do it. If you can load that card into your phone and get really kind of like, I'm only going to be using my phone to do this payment, that's also great because it does the same thing. That tokenization of that number is going to give you the highest level of security in today's age. When you go to the gas station, I've been thinking about this too. I always crank on the card readers and stuff to make sure they don't move or they don't pop off or anything. But there could be something in there, and so if you're really concerned about it, you go inside and do tap to pay. And if there's not a place that does tap to pay, you're kind of like, well, okay, then maybe I'm just doing cash at this place. If you really want to be concerned about it, I believe that even with all my stuff, a couple weeks ago, I think my card got skimmed because someone tried to spend $300 or something like that on a new something at some store, and I had to have a whole new card, and I hadn't changed that card in a long time. But it happened pretty quick. Like something happened, I got an alert and another alert, and then everything shut down. So, just be careful. And again, tapping to pay is one of the easiest ways to kind of get by. It's going to allow just that extra layer of security and just more peace of mind, I guess, as well too. And of course, if you're nervous about if you're going to be doing any protesting, anything like that, and you have your phone with you, if things start to go down and you want to turn off Face ID or any type of like log on with facial recognition, hit your lock button 5 times on an iPhone. That will basically thwart it'll turn the Face ID off, and you'll have to put in a passcode. So you can't be thwarted to put in a passcode, but you can be forced to look at your phone. So just that's just a thought. Hit your lock button 5 times in case you get into any issues that need to go that route. Anyway, so let's see what else we got here. Again, we've talked about this last week as well. I want to talk about it again. TPM chip. So October 25th, 2025, which is coming up, is going to be the end date for Windows 10. Does Windows 10 turn off? No, it does not. Does it just explode or stop completely working or whatever? No, it does not. You're going to probably see something that says, hey, you're not going to get security updates now. And you're like, and that's not a great thing. We're going to need to look at most likely some antivirus and things like that additionally on top of what Windows has on it. Again, I can't imagine they're just going to drop everybody like this, because there's a lot of people who cannot go to Windows 11. They just can't. And there's a lot of people right now also who don't have the money to just go drop on a brand new computer. So I'm really curious what Microsoft is going to do, and I hope they're not going to take the capitalistic gross route and just turn this off because they've kind of decided and maybe extend it a little bit. But people have been asking, how do I get this TPM chip? Can I find the TPM chip? Can I turn the TPM chip on? And a Trusted Platform Module chip, TPM, Trusted Platform Module, is something that's built into your motherboard. You can't turn it on, which is what Windows 11 is requiring to be installed. Therefore, you're sitting here going, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to buy a new computer? Am I going to Mac? But then again, I'm buying a new computer again. Like, I have a machine that works. It works right now. It most likely will work October 26th, 2025. But what are we doing here, right? So, it's, and again, I think maybe Windows 11 might turn off that feature, so it'll let people upgrade after that. But I don't know. I'm really curious to see what's going to happen over this next weekend, not next weekend. I'm sorry, the summer. I'm looking at the whole summer. I think that Microsoft is probably going to either extend or backtrack or something when it kind of comes up against it, because I think a lot of people just can't afford a new machine, and the amount of e-waste that we're talking about also is just incredible. So there's got to be something. And again, this isn't like a Windows 7 to Windows 8 or Windows 8 to Windows 10 thing. This is something saying, hey, you need a piece of hardware in order for our operating system to function on your machine. You're going, well, I don't have that. So now what? What are we doing? So it's frustrating to me for many reasons, because there's just the throwing away of all this money to buy more things when we have things that work right now. It's just all for software stuff. It's very frustrating. Okay, email question real quick before we go in here in the last 10 minutes. If you'd like to give us a call here, 831-900-5773. Always interrupt me. That'd be love to hear from you. 831-900-5773. If you have a question, comment, concern, thought, anything going on, love to hear from you. Or on air at ksqd.org. We already said again, 100 over 100 for we've had great calls. Never a bad one. So you can be part of the club. So this person says, old computer, new computer. I was finally able to convince my mom to get a new computer. Awesome. Issues that her old one is full of videos, photos, work files, etc. She just has to have. Plus, my younger brother has loads of games on it. What's the best, easiest way of transferring all of that to a new computer? I try to get her just to take it to a local shop and let them do it, but she doesn't want to. I heard about transfer cables and cloning the hard drive, but I'd rather just get the info from people who actually know. So as soon as you start talking about software, that's when it gets ugly, right? You can, depending on the operating system, if you clone the drive and put it into another computer, it might work, but then you could delete the stuff, and you're uninstalling files, or you're deleting the username and creating a new username. At that point, what I'd probably do is if she wants to keep the stuff. So what if you were to install a secondary hard drive inside the computer and drag all that stuff to the secondary hard drive, and then keep using the computer, and if she needed to get her data, she could get it off that, or she would just copy it onto another external hard drive and she could take it with her, or maybe that can be, if she needs all that stuff, and especially if she needs the software, that's where it stops, right? So if you go, well, if she needs the software, then you go, well, then you probably just need to, the computer is probably gonna have to go with her, unless it's some like standardized Dell or something like that. And if she's gonna buy a new computer, or she likes that computer and wants another one, she could like literally, we've done this before too. Like I had a gentleman who really liked this old computer and he wanted exactly the same thing and it broke. So I found the same old computer online and just bought it and took his hard drive out, put it in the new one, and it worked because everything was basically the same. We had to sign into a couple things because the serial numbers were different and some of the MAC addresses were different, so we had to kind of refresh and make it look at things again. But for the most part, everything turned right on because it was the same machine. All the pathways were the same. The computer would throw voltage in one place and get the response that it was expecting because everything was the same. The pathways were the same. So depending on what you're looking at, if that's a machine that she really likes, that works, and you really like it, you could probably just buy another one of those, and then I would clone the drive, hand that one to her. You could then remove her username off your machine, put your own username on it. You'd get all the software that she had, use it or not, and when you delete her username, it would delete all her stuff, but leave all the software and stuff. So that might be an idea. But yeah, it's gonna be ugly. It's not, and you know, that's what people do, pay shops like me to do that, because it's not straightforward, and it's not exactly fun or glamorous either. It's making sure everything works, and then one thing stops working, and then something gets updated and something gets moved and your video driver drops. And you're like, oh my gosh, right? So yeah, it's not going to be pretty, but it can be done. So okay, so someone said I cannot delete images from OneDrive because I deleted the pic from my computer. Okay, so it says I deleted some images from my computer and my OneDrive is full. Okay, so I deleted from my computer and my OneDrive's full. Okay, so I tried deleting them, but it won't let me because the file isn't on my PC anymore. Oh, okay. And yes, my recycling bin is empty. Okay. And the mods keep deleting my OneDrive thing. Okay, so you're right. It won't let you do that. So what you might want to do is download some other file, download some other picture. If it's a picture, let's say it's a picture file, right? This deleted picture. On your OneDrive, you should see the picture file and it should be the same name. What I would do is I would then create a picture file, download it, rename it to be exactly the same thing and throw it in the folder. Launch OneDrive, see if it looks at it and see if you can delete it. It might think it's that file, or what it would do is it would see it's that file, it would try uploading it and it can't. And so it would fail. But then when you go to delete it, it would look back to where the file is and it would delete it from your folder, and theoretically it would be gone. So you could just make like a junk file or a fake one, and that would probably fool the computer into thinking that it's going to be able to delete it, and you could just delete it. And again, just download any picture at all, and just rename it exactly the same with the same uppercase, lowercase, spacing, everything, and drop it in the same exact location that it's looking at in that OneDrive folder. I think that should work. I think. Okay, we got about 4 minutes left here. Games randomly turn off on my PC. I've recently started running into various issues with pretty much any game I try to play, crashing my machine. Even extremely low resource games like Raft. Okay, but that's something else. This post is for certain games that straight up just turn off my whole computer. I'm like, okay, so if you can't wait, so I know you want to talk about this other thing, something else, but if you can't run these really, really low quality games, there might be something like hardware-wise going on with your machine, like something's like firing certain transistors, and those transistors are failing and therefore giving back a null signal, and the computer's not expecting that, so it blue screens and then has like an error and just shuts off. That could be. Anyway, so it says he's got 1,000 watt gold PSU. The 1,000 watt gold is a certification for how much power can be delivered at once. So if there's like a video card that's really sucking power, theoretically that power supply has a gold rating for being able to supply that power for a certain amount of time, and it gets this rating that everyone's been putting on their boxes and stuff, whatever. An NVIDIA 480, a Ryzen 9 5700. They think 32 gigs of RAM. Okay, seems to happen pretty randomly. They can play for 10 minutes, intense firefights, no performance issues, and then. Once it just turned off when I opened my keybinds, okay, which is a added program to help you with your game. I don't get any kind of logs or anything, so I have no idea where to start. Another annoying thing is I try to get in my BIOS, but I don't have my BIOS. I don't get a BIOS by the time my monitor turns on after a restart. Okay, well, so if you need to get to your BIOS, you can hold down the key and then push the power button. So you just sit with your finger on the key with the computer off. And as you're holding that key, press the power button. The first thing the computer's going to get is the key that is whatever your BIOS is, and it's going to let you into your BIOS. yeah, that's more technique than anything. But try pushing the buttons even out with the monitor off to get to the BIOS. The screen just stays black. I've tried the Windows method to launch BIOS on the next restart, but again, just black screen, which also might be your BIOS might be broken or something. That's weird. And so then the monitor just goes to sleep until I restart again. I'm a total loss. Okay, so that... I would check your power supply. I would check your power supply, see what it's doing, and I would do it with a power supply tester, which checks the 24 pin. It checks the 5 volt bus. I think there still is a 3.5 volt bus, 5 volt bus, the 12 volt bus. Checks all those pathways. Make sure everything's good. It's really important. Sorry, I got a little something in my throat there. Thank you, everybody. Sorry about that. And but with that, something like that, if it's just power, just shutting off like that is usually power. It's a fail safe. Something had a catastrophic failure and cut power to the controller. Like that is something that's it didn't like something heavy. It almost sounds like you have a hardware issue. The fact that it turns off under these other games. I mean, we had a gentleman. That a very super nice dude. His computer kept dying. He's like, "Hey man," and then I bring it to the shop. We turn it on. It was fine. Bring it to his house, couldn't turn on. Bring it back to my house. Bring it back to our shop. Turn on just fine. Got to his house, completely killed it. Brought it back to us. Power supply was dead. Put a new power supply in it. Everything's fine. Get it back to his house. He uses it for a little bit. It dies again. We bring it back. He had the power button and the power supply is dead. I'm like, what's going on? I go out to his home to look, and we run some power tests, and his walls in his apartment aren't grounded at all. He has no ground. Our digital devices need grounds. They need them. And in Santa Cruz here, we have some properties from before the 70s that don't have any grounds. And like no groundings. And you can just get one of those $1.99 yellow things. You plug it into the switch, and if the lights light up, the 2 lights on the left, you're good. If they don't light up, that's not a plug I would plug a digital device into, a computer or anything that's digital, anything with a screen. I wouldn't plug in anything like that because these digital devices have a very, very strict variance. Long story short, the power supply died because he wasn't getting a good ground, and it's happened twice now. You can get an uninterruptible power supply that would give you kind of like a semi-ground for some of this stuff, but that's not clean power, and it's bad. So you just got to be careful with that kind of stuff because it can get, it can screw up your stuff. It can literally screw up your machine to the point where it kills it or destroys components, and it will vibrate them apart at the molecular level, it seems. You see the pathways broken under like microscopes and stuff, so it's got to be just that shake. So again, we're at the end of another Computer Man show. If I missed your call tonight, you can always reach me by email, Luigi, Luigi, at pleasurepointcomputers.com or Luigi, Luigi, at ksqd.org. Remember to tune into the Computer Man show here Tuesday nights from 6 to 7 p.m. here on 90.7 FM, K-Squid, KSQD. I'd like to thank all my listeners and my callers. Thank you, KSQD, Sandy Stone, Harrison, Richard, David Kipper, John Sanders, Oz, Santa Clara Cruz, Nicholas Tesla, Wasby, Engagement, Hobos, and of course, the humble Electron. Thank you again, Santa Cruz. I'm your Computer Man here on K-Squid, KSQD 90.7 FM, and online at ksqd.org. Stay tuned right here for Be in the Night. I hope you all have a positively charged evening. Until next time.
I am the computer man. I can do anything you can. I am the computer man. I can do anything you can. Computer man, he is your friend. He gonna help you again and again. So if you have a question or two, he's got the answer just for you. I am the computer man, and I am ready for questions now. Thank you.
Mr. Computer Man, how much is 2 plus 2?
4.
Mr. Computer Man, how do you spell cat?
C-A-T.
Mr. Computer Man, how do you spell supercalifragilisticexpialidocious?
With letters. I am the computer man. I can do anything you can. I am the computer man. I can do anything you can. Computer man is very wise. He speaks the truth, he never lies. So if there's something you don't understand, just ask the computer man. Jenny does not compute. What is your number, please?